Cooking beef steak under the oven broiler is a quick and simple way to get dinner on the table, and it definitely beats going to the outdoor grill in the middle of winter. Today, Joyce Parslow with Canadian Beef is going to give us tips on how to make the perfect broiled steak. We're cooking with Canadian Beef. So Joyce, what's our first step?
The first thing you need to do is to get your broiler ready. So we'll go over to the oven, and if you could take the rack from inside and move it to the top position. You want it to be just 3 to 6 inches from your heat source, which is at the top of your oven. And then we're going to set the oven to broil. And check with your oven manufacturer directions, because some ovens you broil with the door shut, and some ovens you broil with the door a little bit ajar, so you need to know ahead of time. And another thing that's good to do in advance of cooking your steak is to test your broiler to know where the hot spots are. I've made a little toast test here. You just spread out white bread on a cookie sheet, put that under your preheated broiler ahead of time, and cook it up to see where you have hot spots. And that's where you want your meat to go. You want your meat to get the most intense heat, so you put it right where your hot spot is. So while that's preheating, we can get our recipe going.
Okay.
So first we're going to make up a simple glaze that's going to season our vegetables and also season our pasta. So we'll start off with half a cup of chicken broth.
Up here.
And we're going to stir in a 1/4 cup of liquid honey, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, half a teaspoon each of Italian seasoning, and you could use oregano or thyme if you want it, and half a teaspoon of pepper and salt. Give that a stir. And then I've got some vegetables already here on a rimmed baking sheet for us, and I've got parchment paper underneath the veggies. So we've got chunks of sweet red pepper, slices of zucchini, and 2 cups of half mushrooms. So we're going to take half the glaze and pour that over the vegetables, and that will season them.
Okay.
And then I'm going to get the meat ready over here. So I've got a top sirloin grilling steak, and I'm just going to trim it up a bit. Top sirloin is a great lean choice in beef. And I'm just going to pat it dry all over, because you want your steak to sear, not to steam. So you make sure your steak is nice and dry. And then I'm just going to season it with a pinch of salt and coarsely ground pepper all over.
Could I use any type of steak here if I wanted to?
As long as it has the word grilling in its name. So you could use a strip loin grilling steak or a ribeye grilling steak if you'd like. And for the best in beef, I buy Canadian beef that's graded Canada Prime, AAA or AA.
Okay.
And then we're just going to set this here onto our vegetables.
Oh, right on top of the vegetables.
That's right. We cook it all in one pan, so there's no cleanup to do either. There's just one pan to clean up. So then we take this and we put it in the oven for 7 minutes. Our broiler should be good and hot by now. Do the coils look red?
They're red.
Okay, so we'll put that in there for 7 minutes and let it sear away. You might want to have your exhaust fan on, because sometimes you get a bit of smoking with the charring of the vegetables and the meat. So after 7 minutes, we're just going to take the steak and I'm going to flip it over. Here, if you could give the vegetables a quick stir, that would be great. And then we put it back in for another 7 minutes. For a 1-inch steak, it takes about 7 minutes per side to cook to medium rare. So this time is up. Sheila, let's get the steak out and see if it's done. So I'm just going to test it with an instant read thermometer. We want about 140 degrees for medium rare doneness.
Will it continue to cook a little bit more after it sits?
Yes, it does, and we're going to give it a good standing time, about 5 minutes, while we finish off the vegetables.
What's the value or the purpose of letting it stand?
That way your juices get to settle, so when you slice into the steak, the juices don't all run out.
Ah, good point.
And it also finishes some cooking too. So I'm just going to take this off. It's up to 140. I'm just going to tent it loosely with some foil. Could you stir in the corn for me? I have 1 cup of frozen corn niblets, and we're going to stir that in. It gives a great color to the finished dish.
Great idea. And so this obviously has to go back in the oven again.
Back in the oven for 5 minutes. And so while our steak is resting and we're finishing the vegetables, I'm just going to work with the pasta now and finish it up. Now this is Orzo pasta. Orzo pasta is a small pasta shape It looks like a rice almost, and it cooks up very quickly. So if you could stir in the remainder of our glaze to flavor it, and then we're going to just toss in some green onions. I've got 2 green onions here sliced, and half a cup of sun-dried tomatoes.
That adds lovely color.
Yeah, and great flavor. And then while you're stirring, I'm just going to put some Parmesan cheese in. We need a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese.
Smells good too, Joyce.
And so now everything is ready at the same time. If you could get the vegetables out, they're all done. And spoon the pasta onto our platter. And then we're going to put the veggies in the middle while I just slice up the steak. Now, I'm just going to put the steak down the center of the veggies, and we have a beautiful presentation. This one's a real showstopper.
What I love about this is that it's an easy dinner to serve your family during the week, but it's equally beautiful in presentation to give to your guests.
It is, yes.
Joyce, this is so delicious and really impressive. What is it actually called, this dinner?
This is the charred steak and veggies with orzo pasta. And it's a great dish to pass at the table. 1 steak serves 4 people. And people can use their own portion control. They can pick how much steak, how much pasta, or how many vegetables they want themselves.
But easy for you because you just cooked 1 steak.
Right, 1 steak instead of 4.
Thanks so much, Joyce. It's great.
You're welcome.
For more great recipes like this, simple to make and easy to serve, visit beefinfo.org.